If you worked at Dunkin' and you had an 8-hour shift, but you only got paid for the time that you were making someone's coffee and not for the time that you were taking the customer's order, that wouldn't really be fair, would it? Hey, Dream Chasers, it's Jacey. I know it's been a minute since I uploaded a new video. I'm sorry about that. I have not been super motivated lately, but luckily today I am fueled by rage. No, I'm just kidding. I'm more fueled by annoyance and a relentless need to bring understanding and explain things. But before we get into that, how are you? You guys all hanging in there? You doing all right? I hope everybody's safe and taking care of themselves. I'm safe and well. I do have this quarantine haircut because I was getting sick of it, but other than that, I'm great. I'm not crazy about this. So anyway, today's video is about a post on the subreddit Am I the Asshole, where people will post a situation and how they reacted to it and ask, am I the asshole in this situation? And usually these are about relationships or kind of crappy roommate situations, but there's one going around right now about a person who got an art commission and complained, get this, that the artist was too fast. Okay, obviously there's more to it than that, so we're gonna read through the post and then we're gonna talk about it a little bit. Am I the asshole for being upset I got my art too fast? The other day, I commissioned an artist to draw my character. I paid $60 for the full body shaded, which is a bit pricey for me, but I assumed maybe this artist takes a long time, like 6 to 7 hours, which is why they price it like that, so I understood why. They sent my sketch not long after I paid, and I approved it, expecting to wait a while for the finished art. Well, what ended up happening is that they sent me the finished artwork early in the next day, and I was like, that was fast. The artist said they were quick, and plus I got in their queue early on their queue. Out of curiosity, I asked them how long it actually took them for the drawing, and they said just under 2 hours. I know what you may be thinking, that I should be happy I got fast service. But hear me out. I felt a little bit scammed because I paid $60 only because I thought this artist probably takes a lot of time, so it's worth it to pay a high price for it. But they didn't even draw for a full 2 hours. I asked the artist if I could have a partial refund because it clearly did not take long. They told me straight up no and seemed kind of annoyed with me. I don't know, I just feel like the price wasn't justified. I talked to my friends and like half of them said they understood and the other half said it was a dick move even just for asking. But to be fair, the ones that said it was a dick move were also artists, so are they biased? Or so they are biased. Am I the asshole? Oh boy. All right. You know, I don't wanna just dunk on this person. Like, yeah, you're the asshole. But I don't want to just dunk on this person because I get the impression that maybe they're a little bit younger based on how they talk. That's not to say that they get a pass. Obviously, they're old enough to have disposable income and conduct a business transaction. But I think that they're probably not that experienced with sort of the kind of time and money and effort that goes into running a business. And they might not even be really aware of the fact that an artist that's taking commissions is running a business and it takes a lot of effort. So I think that really this is a case of someone who just is naive and inexperienced, and you know, sometimes it comes with a little bit of entitlement. So I want to break it down and explain why this artist probably didn't even make anywhere near $30 an hour for this commission. Which, for the record, $30 an hour is a great price for skilled labor. When you're paying someone for skilled work like art, carpentry, to compose a song for you, you're not just paying for their time. Someone who didn't have those skills would take infinitely longer to complete the same task if they could complete it at all. So you're paying for the fact that this person has trained for hundreds, if not thousands of hours to get to the point where they could complete that task in just 2 hours. Someone brand new to art, for example, they might have to learn anatomy, and so they could spend 20 hours just practicing anatomy before doing something half as good as this artist who did it in 2. So when you look at it that way, should the person get paid more who's less experienced because it took them longer? Like, that doesn't really make sense, right? Like, if this original poster was comfortable paying $10 an hour, the person who took 20 hours to do it would get $200 for something that's probably not as good as the person who did it in just 2 hours. That's why this is just kind of a flawed perspective from the beginning, and that's just not really how any of this works. But okay, let's say you still disagree that $30 an hour is a reasonable price for an artist. Let's break down what this artist is actually making, because it's not $30 an hour, I guarantee you. So the post said that they sent over a sketch the day before. My read on it was that the 2 hours was the time it took between that and completion. Maybe it was included in the whole thing, I don't know, but let's say it wasn't. And this sketch could have taken anywhere from, I'd say, 10 minutes to even up to an hour, which I know sounds like a lot, but the sketch stage is actually really time consuming sometimes, because you're figuring out the pose and you're problem solving, you're working out details, you're making changes. So there's a lot of editing that happens early on and just planning, and I think that can take a little bit of time. So without really knowing how long that took, I'm just gonna take I'm just gonna take a guess and say a half hour. So half hour for the sketch, we're up to 2.5 hours for this piece. The artist also has to factor in the time it takes to talk to clients, because it's work and it takes time. For some reason, people get really mad that artists will charge for the time that it takes to kind of talk and go back and forth about a commission. But look at it this way. If you worked at Dunkin' and you had an 8-hour shift, but you only got paid for the time that you were making someone's coffee and not for the time that you were taking the customer's order, that wouldn't really be fair, would it? Like, that was part of the job. You had to take their order to make their coffee. The same goes for commissions. You have to work all that out and talk to the person and figure out what they want and go back and forth and make sure you have an understanding, and then you can do the commission. That's part of the job. So it's part of your workday, and it has to be factored into your pricing and what you make. So let's guess that takes a half an hour as well, between reading the character description, making sure you understand it, going back and forth throughout the process, all that stuff. So now we're up to 3 hours of work total, which for a $60 commission is actually $20 an hour. And for skilled labor, that's an extremely reasonable rate. But that's not everything. The odds that this artist's work week is 100% just drawing and answering clients is super unlikely. So let's look at some of the other hidden expenses and time sinks that are involved with being a freelance artist. So one of the biggest parts of being a freelance artist is actually promoting your work and chasing down leads, because clients don't come out of nowhere. You have to get the word out and update your social media regularly, make sure people can find you and that you're visible, and you also have to look for people who are hiring art. So for commission artists, that could mean going on places like Reddit or Facebook groups or even Craigslist and seeing who's hiring, what kind of artists they're looking for, and actually sending them a message, reaching out, saying, check out my portfolio, here's my pricing, and that takes some time. When I was actively looking for commission work, I probably spent between 1 and 2 hours every single day promoting my artwork on social media and replying to art gigs. And that's something that I keep in mind when I'm setting my prices. Another thing you have to factor into your pricing is the cost of supplies. Art is really expensive to make. So traditional artists have consumable goods, meaning that they get used up. So things like paint and markers. And obviously those things need to get replaced as you use them, so that's factored into the cost. But digital artists also have expensive supplies that need to be maintained and replaced over time as well. A lot of people don't think about those costs because technically they're not consumable, but they are something that you have to maintain and replace. And so I think it's important to factor that into your costs as well. So when you do need to get a new computer or tablet, you're not completely taken by surprise and broke, but you've been planning for it and it's been part of your structure of how you price yourself. So you're paying your bills and you're keeping a little aside for stuff like that. I actually made a video a while back about how to get started with commissions and set prices, and I included a formula to help you figure out how to include the cost of your digital art hardware and software into your commissions. So if you want to check that out, there's a link in the description, or one will pop up around my head somewhere. And another thing that I think a lot of people might not be thinking about is taxes. If you earn income, you have to pay taxes on it. So you have to account for that when you set your prices, that I'm making enough money to live off of this right now, but I can also put a few bucks aside because I'm going to owe taxes on this income later. And I'm not going to give tax advice because I'm not qualified at all. This is a great example of someone you should hire who knows what they're talking about, and it's worth the money, right? But I'll say two things on it. One, not reporting your income properly could have some really bad consequences, like fines or criminal charges. It is not good to do. And two, it's going to be better for you in the long run to have a record of your income and work history if you ever want to like own things or like function in society. I don't really know those details, but I'm pretty sure it's important. So in the words of our wise founding father, Alexander Hamilton, pay your fucking taxes. All right. And on top of all this stuff, depending on how big your business is, there's probably other costs that you're paying for, like advertising, random office supplies, business cards, accounting software, hiring an accountant, all kinds of stuff. And it all adds up. So before you get upset thinking about an artist's hourly rate, realize that the drawing is only half the job. The other half is customer service, promoting yourself, businessy stuff. And that takes a lot of time and effort and money. And I have to say one more thing. At the end of their post, they mentioned that half of their friends thought they were being an asshole, but that those people happen to be artists, and so they were probably biased. Here's the thing. Whenever you say, this person who knows more about a topic based on their lived experience is biased, you're basically saying that knowing about something makes you somehow less qualified to speak on it. Think about that the next time you say someone's biased about any topic that pertains to their lived experience. That doesn't make sense. Of course, the person who understands the thing is going to have an opinion about it. That makes sense. They know all the things that you didn't know as to why. But I don't know. It applies to a lot in life. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Are they the asshole? Are they not an asshole? Does this shirt make me look like an asshole? Well, let me know in the comments, but please just keep it as civil as you can muster. Anyway, that's really it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Before I go, I do want to say a couple things. One, I really hope that you're all safe and well. Two, thank you so much for supporting this channel. And three, I want to say thank you to all of my patrons. In the past, I recently closed down my Patreon, but it means a lot to me that you guys were patrons while I had it open. It's very super sweet and cool of you. The reason I closed it is because I'm not able to make content regularly at the moment, and I just felt like it wasn't really fair to ask that of you guys. So I closed it down, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to make videos or stream. I'm still doing those things. I'm just kind of not doing them on a schedule right now. It's sort of when I get a chance to. I'm hoping that I can still do a video a month. I'm hoping that I can stream at least once a week. We'll see how things are going. But currently, just things are hectic, so I didn't feel comfortable with that. But again, thank you so much for all of your support. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Until next time, chase your dreams. Peace.